Look at you. I can see it in your eyes, that frustration, that boiling anger simmering just beneath the surface. You feel undervalued, unappreciated. You're questioning why they don't see you for who you really are. Let me tell you something. They can't see you. You're like a comet blazing through a sky full of blind men. They might notice a flicker, maybe a brief flash, but they can't comprehend the force of what's standing right in front of them. And that's their problem, not yours. You crave recognition. You want them to look at you and say, yes, she's the one. She's special. But here's a brutal truth. They never will. Not until it's too late. Not until you've carved your name into the annals of history so deeply that it burns into their minds, leaving scars that can never be erased. It's easy for them to ignore potential, to brush off what they can't understand. It's comfortable for them to keep you in a box labeled ordinary. Because if they acknowledged your greatness, they'd have to confront their own insignificance, and nothing terrifies them more. Every time you're overlooked, every time they pass you by for someone lesser, they're giving you a gift. They're piling up fuel for the fire that's going to ignite your ascent. They're too blind to realize that they're setting themselves up for a reckoning. You're accumulating a debt, and the universe will cash it out one day. When it does, the payout will be monumental. You need to understand this. You can't get where you're destined to go by seeking their approval. Approval is a shackle, a leash designed to keep you tame. The moment you crave it, you've already surrendered. The ones who get it without needing it, they're the ones who make the world bend to their will. You're not here for applause. Applause is for performers, for people who dance to someone else's tune. You're here to make an impact, to leave a legacy that doesn't fade with time. You feel like you're stuck in the shadows. But here's the truth. Greatness is born in the shadows. It's forged in the depths, where most people can't even bear to look. You're not underappreciated because you're not good enough. You're underappreciated because you're too much for their small minds to handle. You walk into a room and they sense something they can't put into words. It's a raw, unsettling power, an aura of someone destined for something far beyond the ordinary, and that scares them. It scares them because they know, deep down, that you are everything they could never be. Let them overlook you. Let them doubt you. Every rejection, every dismissal is another drop of poison that you're going to distill into the purest elixir of power. They think they're hurting you, but they're only sharpening your edge. Diamonds aren't made in silk-lined boxes. They're made under pressure so intense it would crush anyone else. That's where you're headed. You're being sculpted by this pain, refined by this pressure, into something indestructible. They want you to stay small, to play by their rules, to doubt yourself the way they doubt you. Because if you ever woke up to your own potential, if you ever realized just what kind of force you truly are, you'd rip apart the very fabric of their reality. You are the threat they whisper about when they talk of ambition and audacity. They want to keep you asleep, unaware of your own strength. But I see it. I see the storm brewing behind your eyes, the hurricane that's about to make landfall. Do you think any legend became great because it was easy? Because they were handed a golden ticket and a pat on the back? No. Every single one of them went through hell. They were rejected, laughed at, and told they couldn't do it. And they didn't just prove them wrong. They obliterated their expectations. They didn't climb the ladder. They burned it down and built their own tower out of the ashes. You're standing on the edge of that same precipice right now. You've got a choice. You can sink into the shadows and live a life of almosts and could-haves. Or you can step forward and own your destiny. You can take every ounce of rejection, every whispered slight, and forge it into a weapon so devastating that they'll have no choice but to recognize what you've become. Because here's the truth. The moment you stop worrying about being liked or accepted is the moment you become unstoppable. You weren't born to fit in. You were born to stand out, to disrupt, to dominate. And the people who can't handle that, they're not your problem. They're obstacles to crush under your feet as you march forward. Every time they say no, every time they look past you, They're loading the cannon you're about to fire right back in their faces. Imagine the day when you look back and laugh at all of them. The doubters, the naysayers, the ones who thought they had you figured out. They'll still be there, stuck in the mud of their own mediocrity. While you're flying so high, they can't even see you anymore. They'll realize too late that you weren't just the best they'd overlooked. You were the best they'd ever have a chance to witness. So let them mock you now. Let them think they're right, that they've got you figured out. Keep your head down and keep working, because one day, when they least expect it, you'll unleash everything you've been holding back. And in that moment, the world will see you for what you truly are, a force of nature, a legend in the making. You're not here to play nice. You're not here to be appreciated. You're here to be unforgettable. You're here to shatter expectations, to rip apart the fabric of the ordinary, and to leave behind a legacy that will echo for generations. The ones who doubted you will still be grasping at their tiny dreams, while you're standing on the summit, laughing. And when that day comes, when the dust finally settles, they won't just know your name, they'll remember it. They'll speak it in hushed tones, with the kind of reverence reserved for myths and legends. You'll be the one they tell stories about, the one who defied every expectation, who transcended every limit. So go on. Be the storm they never saw coming. Be the legend they never thought possible. And when it's all over, when you're standing at the top and looking down at the world below, you'll realize something simple and profound. You never needed their approval. You were already everything you needed to be. Now go, prove them all wrong.